No. Jenny hears something in the woods. Did you see any movement? Look at the cheese mushrooms. I hear it too. Well, I'm gonna go see if I can see what's making the noise. I think if we come around here, Brody. I just don't see what made the movement noise back here. It's thick back in here too. Yeah, let's get to this structure. There's a bunch of these little creek windy things that make travel difficult right here. I'm going to keep the camera rolling for a minute since we heard movement. Oh, careful, this is some weird terrain to walk on, Jenny. Oh. This one right here? That one does? Alright, I'll jump it. Don't step on that one. Well, whatever it is, didn't want us to see it because we heard it twice and it did not show itself. I often wonder when I come across trees out in the middle of nowhere that have damage to them like this, if, you know, it's a damaged tree from wood knocking. I mean, it would take a lot of power to make that kind of damage with, you know, another stick or a log. We're within about a quarter of a mile of the structure. I sure hope we find it. I have a lot of confidence Brody will be able to find it. We've been hiking for about 3 hours now.
That's just weird. How'd they get...
This could be natural right here, but it also does look a little bit odd.
Oh, this is really odd.
This is not natural.
This does not look natural right here.
If you can look, you can see it's all kind of laying together to make it.
It looks like it was stacked here purposely right here. This indeed right here may be a territorial marker. This isn't the one that Brody brought us back here to see, but it definitely looks purposely built. Brody, will you stand in front of those logs so they can see how massive these logs are? I mean, people called our last structure saplings, but these are logs. I mean, some of these bigger ones look like they're upwards of 1,000 pounds, 500 to 1,000 pounds.
How'd they get it to snap off? I mean...
Yeah, how do you shove something up in there and then sink it into the ground right next to the tree? I mean, some of them are just laying right on the ground, but you can tell that these have been relocated right to here. I mean, what person would want to make something like this? I'm gonna back up a little bit so that we can really get a good look at these. Brody's trying to just move a little sapling that's right here, which he can do, but I know all three of us together would probably kill ourselves trying to move logs like these into place. I mean, that's some dangerous stuff to do for no obvious reason. Yeah, so I think we're I think we're in a squatchy area. Just a little bit past what we believe is a Bigfoot territorial marker that we just passed. I just filmed a little while ago, about 10 seconds ago. Now, look, this is a Bigfoot salad. Look at all this milkweed. Even people can eat this. I mean, a territorial marker right by salad. To me, this is Bigfoot salad. Jenny's looking for tracks where we found Bigfoot salad, and this isn't the marker that we come back to look for. It's one that we found along the way, and in our excitement we forgot to GPS this marker, and we want to get every single one of them that's a suspected marker. We want to get the exact GPS location, so I'm following Brody back, and he's gonna throw it on GPS for us. And I don't know, maybe this territorial marker right here is to tell other Bigfoots to stay away from my salad, because about 50 yards from here we found an area that's just full of milkweed. It's a beautiful structure, and like I said, you know, look at the bottoms of these. These were busted off, fallen down, deadfall somewhere else, and were relocated here. And you know, it's their MO to have a host pine tree out of most of the markers I find to kind of brace these structures up against. And look how old that one is. Old break off. But yeah, suspected Bigfoot marker. We found this is like the third X that we found up in here. Not saying this could have just been coincidental, but you know, if it is making these X's, that means something to them.
I know I set them both right there against this tree.
Brody left a shovel and pickaxe back here when he was prospecting 2 years ago, because he's had intentions of coming back here. We're gonna haul these out of here when we go, but he stated that I heard a wood crack, you guys, but he stated that they were sitting together and they've been moved, and we're getting really close to the territorial marker he found when he was back here 2 years ago prospecting.
This is a nice teepee.
Oh my gosh.
It's huge.
You didn't make this the last time you were here, did you, Brody? Can you believe that? We're standing right under it, and we'd like, because we're zoning in on his equipment he left up here. Did you notice this 2 years ago when you was here, Brody?
Oh, yeah.
There's a teepee-like structure. I heard a bear vocalization off to our left, you guys. It was pretty faint. I doubt the camera got it this time, but look at the bottoms of these logs. They have been busted and fallen over, whatever, but it appears that something intentionally
Made a teepee.
stacked them here. I want to get a different angle too. Look, there's, oh my heck, this is weird. I can't believe it took us a second to notice it, because we were zoning in on Brody's equipment he left up here 2 years ago. Beautiful structure. Alright, well, we're gonna take the pickaxe and shovel back home with us, and we're gonna go find that other marker. And Brody's looking for our next waypoint on his GPS, and we're out of here. Alright, we're several hundred yards from where Brody left his shovel and pickaxe near that teepee structure he found 2 years ago, and we're trying to take the most direct route back to the dirt road we come in possible, because it's getting late and it took us 3 hours to get in here, and we would like to get out in an hour or two because it's getting dark. But I don't know if this is a coincidental structure or if it was purposely built, but this is a massive one that we found with massive logs and so forth. But we've been finding a lot of these structures up here. It's a really marked territory, if indeed Bigfoot does make these structures to mark their territories. Okay, we just heard a whoop off to our right, heading back from these structures, and the whoop seemed like it was directed right at us. I'm recording now, hopefully it does it again, where Brody took us back in Yellowstone Canyon near the Moon Lake area, and there's a lot of Bigfoot activity here. There's a lot of reports of sightings and vocalizations, and when Brody was up here prospecting, he heard it whoop a couple of times, and where I just heard it, he says that he thinks that's the same area he heard it when he was up here prospecting the last time. So anyway, we've found 3 really great structures while we've been up here, and then that whoop was just directed right at us, so hopefully it does again. Yeah, if Bigfoot does make those structures, it's a pretty well marked area. If I was another male trying to move into the area, I would know that it was taken, and then something whooped at us. The way these rocks are stacked right here, right by a bent over tree and a possible pushed over tree. Well, God, I don't want to run out of film, but I'd really love to catch it whooping at us if it does it again. It just went whoop. Kind of a whoop without the P. That's what I heard. Alright. Yeah, we're really close to all 3 of the suspected territorial markers.
Chills in my cheeks right now. I get the chills all down my arms and then right here. Oh no, but if they're all laying different ones, I think it's different.
Yeah, this is a suspect X marker right here. Well, that one right there, you can tell has
that one
been broken and brought here, and so's that other one. These trees did not live here and fall over right here. These ones, and
still standing. And
not only we're finding these, we're finding more like these pine trees that look like they're within the ability of, you know, an 800-pound creature to be able to push over pine trees and stuff. We just passed one, and it's weird how they push them over the game trail. I wonder why they want to impede the game. Maybe if they impede game, the game's more apt to be distracted for an ambush. I don't know. It doesn't make sense, but we're finding a lot of pushovers right over game highway trails. I don't know. I heard it too. Here's another structure shoved up into pine trees. These are trees that had fallen over and been uprooted somewhere else and drug in. There's no evidence of these trees being anywhere close to here. These were drug up and laid up here. This is not very far from where we heard a whoop and a rock clacking noise. But yeah, I don't know if this is, if it's done making this one, or if it's been here a while. Nice thing is we can come back here in a couple of years and see if they're adding to these or whatnot. Only way to know is to get the data and keep coming back and checking the areas that we think they habitate. There's a lot of calls reported in this area, and there's a lot of sightings. This is back in what's called Yellowstone Canyon, and then not too far from here is Moon Lake, and anybody that knows anything about Bigfooting in Utah knows that those are Utah hotspots. And here's another one of our structures. Alright, right next to what I like to call Bigfoot salad, on our way returning from finding all the territorial structures. We filmed at least 5 of them. We've come across a footprint.
There's the heel and there's the toes. It's little though.
Yeah, it's not big, but who's running around up here without shoes on? I mean, this has been a ridiculous hike. I'm gonna throw a tape measure on that. It looks to me like it's just a little 7-incher, but we found a 7-inch, 11-inch, and along with the 14-inch and a 17-inch footprint up at Palisades in June, and then we found a 14 and a 17 in Timber Canyon this year also in April, and April, and another and then again in July we found some. But this is a little 7-inch track. We'll put a tape. Well, I see the hill going further back. It may be as big as 10 inches. Jenny, will you hold my camera on that while I get my tape measure, and I'll put a tape on that?
Yeah.
We're kind of leaving the structure area, so this is right at the edge of the claimed territory or whatnot, if that's what it's doing. I apologize, it's going to take me a minute to find my tape. It's usually at the bottom of my backpack.
Mosquitoes are eating me alive.
I'll hurry. Okay. Big toe looks like it's right there, and then it's a 10-inch.
I can't, your arm's in the way, I can't see.
It's 10 inches.
Okay. How wide is it from the big?
At the toes, it's 4.5 inches wide, and the midsection, it's about 3.5, 3 3/4, close to 4, and then of course the hill has kind of come down on this little embankment and stuff. Yeah, I can see every toe.
Every single toe.
Yeah, give me the cam. Stuff just doesn't show up as well.
I know.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Right there. It isn't very deep. I don't even think if we poured anything in there, you'd even be able to see anything.
Yeah, it's not a castable print. It's not deep enough, but it's good enough to get on camera.
Good job.
I'm going to start recording and kind of reiterate what's going on. We finally made it to the main trail to get out of here, and heard some bear vocalizations off to our left. Maybe we'll catch one. And then on our right, we've heard several whoops, some loud rock clacking earlier, and then we found that 10-inch footprint about a half a mile from here. And then Brody took us to the structure he promised to take us to that he found 2 years ago prospecting. After we found that structure last week and he found out how important they are to us, he told us he would take us up to this one. It's in the Yellowstone Canyon area, and it's kind of close to Moon Lake. it's a Bigfoot hotspot, but we did find a 10-inch footprint up here, and looking at the terrain up here, it's hard to find footprints. So we were really fortunate that we come across material that would leave a footprint. 5 structures. We want to put those structures on a topographical map with the GPS locations, so we can get an idea of its territory. You know, it seems to us like it's marking the borders of its territory. Because it seemed like we went in one big circle finding it. But yeah, I found it our right side. Something's been trailing us since we first found that first marker. And when Brody was prospecting back here 2 years ago, it really spooked him vocalizing, and it followed him all the way back to his camp. And the last hour and a half or so, it really seems like something's been trailing us a couple 100 yards back and off to one side of the trail. And once in a while it'll whoop. When we were down at the creek, it threw 2 stones in the river, and I know it wasn't Brody or Jenny. I could plainly see both of them when it happened. I still had to ask if they threw a stone into the river, and then right after I asked them, another stone went into the river. So we may be experiencing some Bigfoot activity, and we're all noticing the darker it gets, the braver it's getting with its vocalizations and rock tossing and stuff. And Brody experienced this same stuff 2 years ago when he was up here. He just found the one structure. He was up here prospecting, so he wasn't looking for Bigfoot structures, but we found 4 more, on the way in and the way out. So I think it's a great day for our GPS project in high activity Sasquatch areas, that we got a lot of good data today. Alright, the sun's about ready to go down, and we passed these birds that sounded off an alarm, as we went past, and now we've gotten far enough back that they quit, and now we hear something working its way up through the thick, and the birds are going off again. So it seems like the darker it's getting, as you can see, the sun's about ready to go down. The later it's getting, the braver it's getting, closer it's come. We feel like we've been escorted for the last several hours since we've come within about a half a mile of the first marker. But there's some birds down there that are nesting, and they started freaking out when we went past, and now they're freaking out again. I'm hoping I can get one of its footsteps as it crunches through down there. Yeah, like I said, deer and elk and whatever, they just want to get away from you when they know you're there. But we've been followed for about an hour and a half, 2 hours now. And this is exactly what happened to Brody 2 years ago. If you notice, he kind of left without all of his gear. We come back in and got his shovel and his pickaxe.
Did you hear that crack? That rock clack down there?
Yeah, it's been rock clacking as it's been following us. It's thrown rocks into the river when we were down by the creek, and it's been doing some rock clacks. We've had it whoop at least 3 times at us. I think he knows we stopped and we're looking back, because we've heard about 5 or 6 snaps like footfalls down there, and they've stopped. Yeah, we just found and filmed that 10-inch footprint, so that to me is a juvenile. So there's probably an alpha male that's escorting us around his territory. Yeah, I heard him again. He's getting closer. Did you hear him off that way, Brody? But when we first got down in, it seemed like he was staying off about 100, 200 yards. And it definitely sounds like he's getting closer. He's getting a little bit braver as it gets darker. We're gonna stay out here past dark. I know we're not gonna be able to get any good film or pictures, but maybe we can get a personal sighting. Maybe he'll come in close enough for a personal sighting after the sun goes down. Because whatever's been following us has done some rock clacks. We just did a couple of knocks. We usually don't do that. We usually don't do anything in the way of calls or rock clacks or wood knocking and stuff. We don't want to spoil the area for people that are better at that than us. So anyway, we just did a couple, but oh my god, I can hear it, you guys. It's moving right over here. I can hear something. We've been hearing something following us, and I'm moving in towards it. Just because I hear something doesn't necessarily mean it's a Bigfoot, but something's been escorting us for a couple of hours. Whatever it is, it's close. Yeah, Jenny probably shouldn't be wandering off too far from us. I heard it a lot closer than I'm standing now. I want it to show itself. I've been followed by a black bear 3 summers ago. Me, Jenny, and my daughter Kelsey got followed by a black bear, and it followed directly behind us, 180 degrees behind us. And when mountain lions follow people for curiosity or whatever, they do the same. They follow directly behind. But whatever's been trailing us the last 2 hours, it stays off the game trails we use, and it kind of paces us to the side and back. And it was staying over 200 yards away. But the darker it's getting, it seems to be getting more brave. I just heard it less than 50 yards away, if that's what it was, what's been trailing us. Who knows, we could have spooked a deer or something, but I didn't hear it run away like a deer would. Like it might be hiding somewhere close, wanting the bugger to show himself. But we're noticing the later and darker it gets, the more bold it's getting, with coming in closer, rock clacking, and some whoops and stuff. What did it sound like?
Yeah. Hey, sorry. I didn't like it. I couldn't find you guys.
Jenny, well, we heard it, something trailing from behind, and we went back to check it out and didn't realize you wandered off, but you heard a vocalization over here.
I was trying to find a picture.
Isn't it? Well, you've heard black bear vocalizations. Was it anything close to that, or was it different?
No.
Okay, sorry.
It sounded like a big, icky man.
Alright. Well, hopefully it'll make it for us again. If he's trailing us, I hope he shows himself before it gets dark.
I thought we need to go back this way for the trail.
Oh, we aren't on the trail, are we? Alright, let's head back to the trail we left.
Hey, Venus.
We heard some great vocalizations. There it goes again. I hope it's picking up on my camera. It's like a shrieking noise. The vocalization is like a shriek. There are some cows in this area and that we're in now. It's a grazing area, but there's something shrieking. We're going back. I'm just gonna leave this shovel here. I'm not packing it back. We have to pass this way anyway. We're going back. It's really starting to pick up on its vocalizations. Freaky. Those are the same types of shrieks that me and Jenny heard last year at Beaver Creek in St. Charles. Those 3 vocalizations we heard in 2 nights. And it's already made more vocalizations just now than we heard in 2 nights. Okay. Sorry. I just get excited when stuff like this happens. Maybe it's given us a last goodbye because it escorted us all the way out. This large meadow that we had to cross, we're almost out of here. We're probably less than a half a mile from the vehicle, but this is kind of, there's some cows out here, and they sounded like they were, one of them was in distress, and then we heard the shrieking vocalizations and stuff, and prompted us to come back. It'd be so neat if we can get one of those good shrieks on here. I grew up on a farm, and you know, I've been around cattle and stuff all my life, and when the cows started vocalizing, they sounded like they were in distress, and then that thing started shrieking.
It's really scary.
It's not exactly what I heard in Beaver Creek in St. Charles, but it's close, you know, kind of like we have our own voices, like it has its own distinct voice. It's a little bit different. But we did hear some shrieking. Come on, show yourself. Okay, there's the cow. That one day that we were setting up our game cams in Timber Canyon a couple of weeks ago, those cows seemed freaked out that night. And we also heard bear vocalization, so we thought the bears were scaring them, and then we ended up getting a photograph, 2 photographs, and a video of a mountain lion, so who knows why the cows were freaked out that night, but something spooked some cows and made some shrieking noises. Yeah, these guys are gonna glass the tree line because it's across from here. That's exactly the side that we've been followed the whole time. It's stayed on our right side of the canyon or the trail or whatever you want to call it. We can't even see the cows that it freaked out. It sounds like there's like 2 or 3 cows, and then whatever was shrieking and scaring them. Brody's glassing across. Now it's getting dark, and it's come on, shriek again. die. I may have to quit filming and just save it in case we have a sighting. You know, that's the only time you have a sighting is when you're out of film or out of battery, so I need to start being careful. And we still have enough daylight yet if we...
Do you want to put my batteries?
See what others? I've got a rechargeable battery. I don't take those A batteries like you do. Alright, I'm going to turn it off now. You could start filming, Jenny, and see if you can catch the vocalization on your camera if it does it again. Those are some freaky screeches.